It's OBT after dark.
No music. That's why.
So, should we do music on OBT after
You,
dark?
you know what we need? We need some just some jazz. I mean, I'm thinking we need a bass line. Boom, 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 boom,
Here's one
boom,
called
boom,
Night
boom,
Driving.
boom, boom. We need some. Go with that. Let's see what that sounds like.
What do you think? What do you think?
Hang
Night
on.
Driving here. Let's hit that one. Oops, I think we both hit it at the same time.
Ooh.
Oh, turn it up, baby. Turn it up. Yeah. Maybe.
That's it. I mean, it's not the bass line that I was looking for. But here we are. It's after dark. After midnight, letting it all hang out. See that face there? That's the newest Bronco. Jahdae Barron.
Jahdae Barron.
You know, there are an awful lot of mock drafts out there.
Tons.
Thousands of mock drafts. Was there a mock draft anywhere that had Jahdae Barron to the Denver Broncos? Anywhere. A stunner. What was your reaction on air, Cecil Lammey, when you heard the Broncos had selected one Jahdae Barron?
Could we just let this music run the whole show? I don't know, man. What do you think?
I like this.
It's okay. So my reaction was this. Oh my God, what?
Let's turn down a little bit. We'll get in the background.
Yeah, we'll let you control that one, brother. But my reaction on the radio was, one, I got to see Friday's picks.
Yeah.
Omer and Hampton staring at you right in the face.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Hampton and Genty now, both in the AFC West, not with the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
My reaction was, I didn't think he'd be there. Jahdae Barron is arguably the second best corner in this draft, depending on where you think of Travis Hunter. Like, is he a corner, a wide receiver? Is he both? Like,
Barron, I don't think it's arguable. I think he is CB2. He was my CB2.
Barron is a talented player. So it's like, okay, we knew corner was coming, Mace, but we had thought, and I'm speaking for you, correct me if I'm wrong, third round?
Third round, fourth round. We were talking about guys like Kobe Bryant.
Right.
We knew corner was coming, but not this early. I mean, this was... Here's the thing. I can't argue against the pick. I can never argue against BPA. I think that's what it comes down to here. Jahdae Barron was BPA, best player available. I can't argue with that. He was top of your board, right? Was he not? Mm-hmm. Best player available. Top of mine. I texted somebody around there. I said, I don't know if he was top 10 on your board, but he was top 10 on mine. He was literally 10th on my board. And so I can't argue with that. And even though we were talking about third and fourth rounders, didn't we sit here on this show and say you're always looking at corner?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I can't argue with that. I was sitting at a table with the esteemed Jeff Legwold. I will give him credit. Like, he loves Barron. He loved Jahdae Barron. And when the name came up, I said, "That's your guy." He was thrilled with the pick.
Okay.
Absolutely thrilled with the pick. He's a unicorn. Like, if you watch him at Texas, you see he's all over the place. Outside corner, slot corner. They move him in the box, safety. I mean, Vance Joseph's got to be thrilled because he can move this guy all over the place.
Exactly.
And in fact, that's what led to my question to Sean Payton, because I asked Sean specifically. I asked him about him from an offensive coordinator's perspective. When you're facing somebody like Jahdae Barron, he's really somebody interesting to go against, quite frankly. And actually, I thought I had the clip here, but maybe I don't. I'll see if I can find it here, and load it at some point. But
Yeah, Barron is a player that if you're the Broncos, you don't go
Yeah.
in with this plan.
yes,
And then he's there, and then you.
they did say that.
Okay.
So little shades of Bradley Chubb
Don't let
in
that scare you, everybody.
okay, shades of Bradley Chubb in 2018. Oh, we didn't do a mock draft. Okay, mock draft with his name coming up. Now, that was a bit different. Okay, if you didn't do a mock draft with Chubb's name coming up at 5, that's a problem. That is a you problem. If you didn't do a mock draft with Jahdae Barron coming up at 20, that's pretty reasonable. It didn't occur to me he'd be there at 20, to be honest with you. I didn't think he'd get past 15. I frankly had him going to Miami at 13, especially with all the stuff kind of going down with Jalen Ramsey lately. I thought he made a lot of sense for Miami at 13.
I thought Miami would go that way as well.
Yes. So and of course the other thing we were thinking about when Miami picked, that was the last spot if you wanted to jump up for one of the top 2 tight ends, that was the thing to do because the Colts wasted no time turning in their card for Tyler Warren. I think the Colts probably had the quickest pick of the draft.
I think they might have personally wet themselves when
Yes.
Tyler Warren was there.
So here's the response from Sean Payton to my question when I asked him about, from an offensive coordinator's perspective, kind of what you think when you're facing somebody like a Jahdae Barron who moves around and is kind of a chess piece, and now you've got a guy like him on your team. It's a long answer. There's typical Sean Payton going into explanatory mode. Here's what he had to say.
Well, in our 10 years, call it the last 15 years, with the rules and the way the game's changed, the cornerback has been a premium position, and then pretty soon the third receiver, the third corner, then pretty soon the dime packages, and more than 70% of your game is spent in these sub-defenses. And as George alluded to, when you're short, boy, that makes it difficult. These are premium positions, and like this type of player is less available than so many other positions. We can. Yeah, it's harder to find these traits in what he does than at other positions, not only in the draft, in off season. And so he provides great flexibility. If you want to play a third down snap and put Surtain on a certain receiver, travel him to one, travel Riley, there's a lot of flexibility. J-Mac, the 4 of them, it's real difficult if you're light there. And it would be no different than 20 years ago if you were light at just one of the 2 corner positions. But the value of these defensive backs in the last 10 years has really skyrocketed relative to how the game has changed.
Okay, so let's go through a couple of things there. Talked about you can't be light at corner. I think that Browns game last year where they had to go with Levi Wallace, I think that's ringing in their ears a little bit.
Yeah.
How short they were caught in that game.
Mm-hmm. The days of going with a Levi Wallace, a Tremont Smith, or whatever veteran corner that you pick up late, those are done with this pick.
Yeah. I think they wanted to get right there. Don't forget also with Jaquan McMillan, look, the clock goes fast in the NFL, right? I mean he was a rookie in 22, and here we are, coming up on 25, right?
Things go quickly.
It happens fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think on eligibility, he's RFA next year, right? I believe.
I believe so. Should be based on his contract.
Okay.
You got Chris Abrams trained to play slot corner.
Eventually.
This definitely puts Riley Moss on alert.
Yeah,
to stay healthy.
Yeah, Jaquan's RFA next year, and this is okay. Riley Moss, good thing. We all like Riley. He's a heck of a player.
Yeah.
Riley Moss had 2 significant injuries in 2 years. So, if everybody's healthy, I'd say this is how I project things this year. If everybody's healthy, Riley is on one side, PS2's on the other. And, I mean, the guy who probably loses his grip on his amount of playing time is probably Jaquan McMillan. I'd say probably he's the one who loses the most playing time immediately. But probably the moment Riley Moss goes down, if he gets injured, you'd say Barron may end up bouncing outside and working in base. I could see Barron becoming a player almost like Chris Harris Jr. at some point, who in base he's outside, in sub he goes inside. Not just because he can play slot, but if you move him inside the slot, that means you can have the freedom to move him to some of those safety looks, to some of those inside the box looks. You have a lot more flexibility with him there if you're starting him in nickel and dime sub packages from an inside spot than an outside spot. And then you take more advantage of that. So I think he's going to have to probably learn multiple positions. The good thing is he's so smart. And that was something George Payton and Sean Payton both pointed to. Very high football IQ, very high football intelligence. So he makes this team better. The thing that certainly helps, if you weren't talking about running back being so deep this year, and if you weren't talking about running back being a position that in recent history you've been able to find quality on day 2, I'm not sure you make this pick.
Right.
This is a reaction to what trends are in the draft and a reaction to what this class is. Shall we listen to George Payton and what he said about what their philosophy was, like what they were going to do? Are you okay, Cecil?
I'm good. How are you? I want to know the mood there too, dude, because the mood at Sportsbook was like, what the what?
Okay. Well, let's listen to George Payton on trading down, because not trading down, because they had the opportunity to do it, but he also talked about what they could have done, and if they had traded down, what it would have been for, because that's where running back comes into play. My conscience comes into play. I'll make a little Eminem reference there. Guilty Conscience. That's an all-time song.
Yeah,
don't you agree?
That's a good one for sure.
It is a good one. I'm your bleeping conscience. That's nonsense.
That's nonsense.
All right. Here's George Payton.
Yeah, there was a runner that we considered in that range. I think that was more of a trade back scenario. We had some opportunities, to trade back, but we feel good, moving forward with, like we've said throughout the process, there's a lot of runners in this draft, and it's, you never know, but we feel pretty good we'll get a runner in this draft. There's a lot of them. And if there's not, that we'll sign one after the draft. We'll sign a free, there's a lot of good players left in the draft, and we feel good with where we're at. A lot of offensive players, a lot of weapons left, and so. We got a weapon on defense in the first round.
Okay.
I like it.
Which running back do you think that was?
In consideration there, my heart would say like Hampton, but my brain goes, maybe it's just Henderson.
I think it was Henderson.
I think we could see a move up for Henderson.
Who's still on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could, but at the same time, I think it's also
51 is good too.
I think the other thing also that's in play is I do suspect they want a tight end as well. I don't. If they move up, I don't think they want to sacrifice that 3rd round pick to do it. I think if they move up, it's sacrificing next year's capital to do it.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of tomorrow with Fannin.
Okay. Fannin at 51, Fannin
Well,
at 35,
it's
Fannin
just-
at 85.
It's just something I'm thinking. Maybe it's just I'm thinking about Barron here, but the way they talked about Barron's unique traits, like how different he is, like how much he's unlike others in the class. And they really want to find players who have things that others don't, right? Special traits. Okay, so let's go through some of the running backs here. Who are left? Who are running backs that have special traits that are left?
Henderson.
Okay, yes, he's got special traits. Who else? Like, not necessarily the best, but like special traits. I mean, I think like Dylan Sampson has some special traits.
He's a slasher.
Yes. I mean, I'm not sure, like, does Judkins have special traits?
The blend of power and speed.
Yes.
If we combine those, that's special. Some guys
See-
are just power guys. Some guys are just speed guys.
And that's what separates him from Caleb Johnson. Like, I'm not sure Caleb Johnson has the special traits the way that Judkins has. You know, the slasher traits that Sampson has. The vision, smoothness, pass catching ability that Rashard Smith has. I think there's something to the Broncos maybe looking for special traits here in the players they're seeking. Because certainly Jahdae Barron has special traits. Jonah Ellis, who they drafted last year, one of the things they liked about him, he had some special traits to him as well. Looking for, something extraordinary. They're looking for the extraordinary, right? Looking for unique. You don't want a team of ordinary.
If you're looking for unique, who's more unique than Harold Fannin?
Yeah. He's different.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Jeff Legwell and I were talking, and we were like, that's the guy that, like, Sean might get the itch on. Like, ooh, I gotta get him. Like, what can I do with this guy? Like...
How itchy was the room?
Oh, when
the Jacksonville move happens and Cleveland's there at 5 and they already got
Ooh.
their haul and you could get Ashton Genty. You knew, and the Raiders were going to go Mbu unless Genty was there.
There was a buzz. There was a definite buzz in the room as pick 5 came up.
Okay.
But then when it passed, it faded. It was like, okay, it's gonna be a minute. And then, when Bears took Loveland, like, whoa, and that was another kind of whoa moment, right? That was a whoa moment. So I'd say, like, in the media area, it was the moments. First of all, when Jacksonville traded up to pick Travis Hunter, just because of the CU connections, and also because Jacksonville thought, okay, maybe they're going to be in at 5 for Genty, or maybe they trade down, like they were the wild card. What are they going to do? So it was pick 2. It was, everyone was kind of on point. Pick 5. What is Cleveland going to do? Because once Cleveland stood pat and made their pick, everyone knew Genty was going to the Raiders. The next interesting pick, and was a little out of left field, was when the Bears went with Loveland. And then it was when we got to 13. What was Miami going to do? Miami was sort of, could they trade down? That was a spot because, okay, is someone going to jump the Colts for a tight end?
Tyler Warren sitting right there.
Tyler Warren was right there. And that was the one we all kind of had our eyes on. Is there going to be a move here? And then also the Cowboys at 12, just because Jerry Jones had said, okay, maybe I'm going to make a trade here. By the way, Jerry Jones should just pick guards, because like when he picks guards, it seems to always work out.
Right.
Like I'm like, okay, he just picked a dude that's going to start for him for 10 years probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All this talk, they could take Hampton, they could take Matthew Golden.
He
Go
picked.
safe.
Yeah. He picked a guy who's probably going to be a 3-time All-Pro for him. You know, there were some sensible picks this year but I'll say teams that I wasn't sure were going to be sensible were sensible. Cowboys, Saints,
Right.
yes, good on you, Saints, for doing exactly what I thought you should do. Give you credit. There weren't many teams that I thought lost the plot this year. Giants did. When
Falcons?
when they showed the Giants draft room, and I said to our friend Arnie Stapleton, I'm like, there are a lot of people in that shot that may not have jobs next January.
There was a Giants reporter who's like, I heard Joe Shane threw over a chair.
Gosh.
Yeah. By the way, Beavis says something that's the greatest chat comment we've ever gotten.
Did I just blow it out? I think I just blew up. Oh, gosh. Whoops.
I think the microphone just blew up.
Whoops. Oh, gosh. Oh,
People
boy.
wondering why we're quiet. Well, one, it's late night. I have my daughter sleeping upstairs, so I'm like, okay, I better be quiet. No radio voice
Hang on.
here.
Could I maybe turn it down a little bit here?
I turned you down a little bit. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
All right. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
so we do these late night ones a little quiet.
Yeah, we got at least 2 of these coming here, and we'll do another one at Rookie Minicamp, right? Another late night show.
Late nights are all right with me.
Late nights, all right. Yeah,
That's right. That's right. So the mood in the room when Hampton's there. Almost everyone.
So at 20, it's everyone's thinking Henderson or Hampton.
Okay.
Or trade down. Here's what everyone's thinking, Cease. The clock is ticking, and we're all like, okay, that phone is hot. The lines are burning up. They're talking to teams right now about deals. Because remember earlier in the show, I mentioned the Colts. They clearly turned in their card fast. Because I'm sure you were following on social media, guys like Jordan Schultz and others. They were tipping the picks. Like, were you talking about the picks before they happened, or were you letting the broadcast?
Yeah, because people who are listening to me aren't listening to the draft. So
Okay.
I'm not spoiling the draft for them. I'm just giving them the information as I got it.
Okay, so yeah, and I admit, like, we were talking about it as we saw it on social media, and there were a few times I just retweeted it. Again, I'm not preserving the broadcast. ESPN's not paying me. NFL Network's not paying me. It's not my job. So we had that because of that. You had a good sense of how fast teams were moving and which teams were taking their time. So you knew exactly what teams were getting calls or were really pondering it. And the Broncos took nearly the entire 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And clearly that meant, and even though they made it clear how much they liked Barron, but the fact they took that time, and George Payton did say they had opportunities to trade back, as we suspected, their phone was ringing. Mm-hmm. You would imagine, I mean, we don't have confirmation, but you can kind of put 2 and 2 together. You would imagine the Giants were calling.
Yeah, without the haul that the Falcons offered.
Yes.
So it's like, if you had gotten the haul the Falcons offered, Falcons gave up a first rounder next year.
Yes.
The Giants did not.
But the Falcons, The Falcons, that first rounder next year, the Falcons aren't going to be a bad team this year. Or, I mean, what do you expect that pick
Well,
to
in that
be?
division, they should compete for. I mean, Tampa looks real good. Another receiver for the Buccaneers, but it's like they look real good, and the Falcons will be right there.
Some people think Ibuka could be the next Evans. I mean, I don't like to make that comparison. I don't think that's fair to Ibuka, but that's what everyone's going to say. So we'll see. He's certainly like high character. Like Ibuka's the high floor guy, right? Mm-hmm. At minimum, he's going to be a 60 catch, 800-yard guy. Like he'll be good at minimum. So that's not a bad pick for them. But yeah, it's Atlanta and Tampa Bay for that division, just like it was last year. Tedderolo McMillan, T-Mac went much earlier than a lot of people expected, although I'll tell you, he was my wide receiver 1, so...
Depending on what you call Travis, he was my wide receiver 1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't argue with that based on my board, but that was a surprise that he went so high. Barron dropping was a surprise. I think it surprised the Broncos too. If he had gone off the board a couple of picks before, I do think the Broncos would have traded down.
Then they take the Giants deal, and they trade down.
Yeah. And then we might be talking about Travion Henderson, Denver Bronco, right now.
Might be talking about that on tomorrow's late night show.
Yeah, depending on how far he falls. Mm-hmm. Will they keep falling, or will a team take him? Will the Broncos wait? Will they orbit and wait, or will they try to make a bold move?
Where's the canary in the coal mine? There's always, if there's a run on running backs tomorrow, who's the back that they go, crap, we got to move up now? Is that Judkins? I think Judkins will be there at 51.
Yes.
But, okay, so Caleb Johnson goes, Travion Henderson goes. Are we expecting anyone else at the running back position to go before Judkins if Judkins is there at 51?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so. I love Devin Neal, but he's going to go in the maybe day 3.
4.
I hope he goes late 3rd, but that's just me. Hope the Broncos get him, but that's just me. Defensive tackle could be their pick in this round.
Well, Tyleik Williams went a lot higher than any of us thought.
I'm glad he did. I was happy for him because he was one of my stand on the table guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't have him as a first rounder, though. I love the guy. I didn't have him as a first rounder.
Somebody rolled the dice on the upside.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is, basically. So
Kenneth Grant went much higher than people thought. He ended up going. He did not fall to where the Broncos would have picked. Neither Kenneth Grant nor Walter Nolan fell to 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Teams know. When you know, man.
Yeah. But Omarion Hampton did, not a Bronco, and a Charger. So this is another thing. Now the Broncos are going to have to look at Omarion Hampton and Ashton Genty twice a year. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna. There's going to be a referendum on a regular basis on this draft, on the moves they make at running back.
But here's the thing. You know what Barron helps, and we'll tie this in.
Well, he's run support. He gets involved against the run too. That's another thing. Like
he's run support. But what level are the Broncos on? Let me ask you this, and we'll tie a bow on tonight's show. We've got tomorrow's show and then tomorrow night show, Mace. If you're up for it, I know you still have work to do.
I got another story to write. Yeah.
Yeah, you got another story to write. So I'm gonna ask you this, and we'll wrap up today's show, and then we're gonna do, if you're up for it, another night show, and of course our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah.
Are the Broncos competing with, the fringe playoff teams? Maybe. Okay, maybe. But are the Broncos competing with high-powered teams like the Bills, the Ravens? If the Chiefs, they're always high-powered. The Bengals, if they figure things out. how does Barron help him out against those type of teams? Know your neighborhood. Know your neighborhood. If your neighborhood's full of really good yards, you better have a really good yard, or you're going to stand out like a turd in a punch bowl. If you're the Broncos, are you in the neighborhood? You're not on the Bills and Ravens level yet. But to be in that neighborhood, you need players like Barron to cover high-powered offenses when you get to the postseason.
Well, okay. Think about this. Where have the Broncos broken down the last 2 years? Their defense. Secondary. And against teams that have too many weapons for them to handle.
And speed.
Yes, I'm thinking of the Dolphins disaster. Now, there were injuries, of course, that exacerbated. They didn't have Justin Simmons that day. They didn't have their full deck against Miami defensively. They did have a pretty full deck in Detroit later that season, and they couldn't stop the Lions at all. They were down a safety in Baltimore last year. Couldn't stop the Ravens. Couldn't stop the Bills. Not great weaponry, but enough. They got pounded. Couldn't stop the Browns when they lost Riley Moss. But remember, the Browns had a decent amount of. It wasn't just Jerry Jeudy. It was Joku. The Browns have some decent weapons. The point being, when you get to these teams that have multiple skill weapons with which to attack you, when you get to basically, I think the number is 3. When you get to 3 or more that can beat you, it starts to become a problem for the Broncos. Well, now you've added Barron. Now, Jahdae Barron. Now you've added Talanoa Hufanga. You've added Dre Greenlaw in the box. Okay. Where you go, where are you going to go now?
Mm-hmm.
Vance Joseph has no excuses.
Zero.
The other thing, and this was a good point, has had this conversation. This is another thing about when you put all the media together. We have these, you have these conversations. This was a conversation I had with Parker Gabriel of the Denver Post tonight.
Great dude.
Yeah, all these these are all great. These are all great people. We're almost all of us are friends, legit friends, and you and I have talked about this on the show as well. The whole thing of you may never be more blank than you are right now or you were last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nick Benito may never be as good as he was last year. Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Regression is a thing. You bring in these these players, you've given yourself some cushion against regression. This defense, personnel-wise, is better than it was last year. Not just because of these players that you've brought in, but you're also getting Alex Singleton back. So the 12 or 13 you're going to use regularly, plus the D lineman you rotate in. So basically 15. The 15 you're going to see on a regular basis. They're better than the 15 that you saw last year. Right now, today. That should help you.
Love what Jeremy says here. If you enjoyed watching Cooper DeJean terrorize Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl, then you should love this pick. And I believe it was ESPN on the
They
screen.
made the comp. It was Cooper DeJean. That was the comp they made. Yep. Good pull. Good call.
Jeremy, great comment.
Yeah.
Great comment.
Yep.
Great pick, Mace. Great pick.
Great pick. BPA. I like I said, I can never argue against BPA.
And shouldn't have been there.
Yeah. So, you made your team better. You just got to find the running back tomorrow or today. That's all.
Yeah, you forget we started at midnight, so it's technically today.
Yeah,
but,
today.
This is what we live for, man.
Today. Today.
I been studying a lot. I don't want to bore everybody. Maybe I will at a later date. But when you have joys in life, I think it's all best if we step back and realize and recognize those joys.
Yeah.
One of those is talking football with you, my friend.
Thank you. I needed that.
I mean,
I'm gonna have to.
I don't do this show at midnight after I'm on the air for 8 hours if I'm not doing it with you.
Wow.
Point blank, period.
You have been on the air for 8 hours on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
But we got work to do.
Yeah, I gotta write. You're writing. You wrote something.
I wrote something, yeah.
Did you send it to me or did you send it to James?
I sent it to James. So
Okay, never
it'll post
mind.
in the morning. Even though I put 8, 4 best options for them on day 2.
Okay. I look forward to reading it with great interest.
We could maybe break it down tomorrow as we do our show.
I think that's our show tomorrow. Is the best of what's left. I think that's our show.
Okay. By the way, I so wanted to get to 2,000. We have 1,800 live viewers right now.
Well, can you give me a moment? Do you want to get to 2,000?
Hell yeah.
Can you give me a moment to put new batteries in my thing? Because I got a little feedback here. Hang on.
Okay. Hold, please.
It's bothering me. Hang on.
Let's all
Hang
go
on.
to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. There's Andrew Mason in the lobby. And we'll let him get some batteries. Oh, that's the light. Gotta save the motif. I'll go full screen here and say, all right, when Mace gets back, we'll throw him back on the screen. And just really appreciate you guys out there, man. This was an interesting pick for the Broncos. This was a different pick for the Broncos. This was not an expected pick for the Broncos. But this defense now, I mean, you want it to maintain top 5 status the entire year and have the depth, even with injuries, that you can maintain that. And for the last 2 years with Vance Joseph's defense, we've seen a defense that struggles early, comes on late, and then last year, phenomenal, and then struggles late. So starts great early and then struggles late. You want an entire season's worth of effort. A guy like Barron can get you there. Guys like Hufanga can get you there. Guys like Greenlaw can get you there. As we're pushing towards 1,900 live viewers, just get us to 2,000, and then we'll say bye. But either way, this is something where, and yeah, I see the chat room. Some people saying it's a bad pick. It's not a bad pick because the pick shouldn't have been there. And Mace back with his batteries and ready to go. Back on the show. Let's bring you back in here, Andrew Mason. And yeah, we'll get the show. We're over 1,900 now. We're climbing. We're climbing up.
I don't know if those
batteries aren't any good. Oh, I don't. Did the internet go out? I don't know if those batteries are any good. We'll let Mace get set back up there and have him join us back in. Yeah, I wrote the 4 players, even though I added in 8, the 4 players that I would like to see the Broncos make a run at. And one of my throw-in players, I guess technically I did 9 because I did Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins in the same kind of grouping. And I threw in Dylan Sampson there as well. So Simpson, like I believe there are a few backs. Excuse me, and Devin Neal, probably day 3. But Devin Neal from Kansas would be a player that you go, okay, that's someone that could be an option in this rotation. And like it or not, as much as I wanted Omarion Hampton to be the pick, so my mock would be right. Although I think I got 11 or 12 right, depending on if y'all will give me Travis Hunter at 2, even though it wasn't the Browns that took him. I think I got 11 or 12 picks on the money. And, of course, Kansas City and the Simmons pick, which is funny because you had the Philadelphia Eagles trade for no reason other than Howie Roseman is addicted to trades. So yeah, it's something we're gonna continue to watch this Broncos team build and see how it looks on day 2 and day 3 of this draft. What do the Broncos do and who is left? And that's it. And JP going off in the chat room, I don't know why you would want to be miserable, JP, and saying Cecil said Paxton Lynch was a great pick. Okay. I had a first round grade on Paxton Lynch, just like I had the exact same grade on Dak Prescott. So yeah, I don't understand why. Why do you want to be miserable? So there's that. Andrew Mason is back.
Is my microphone working?
I can turn you up now because I turned you down earlier, so I can turn you up now and get your mic going.
Is my mic is it the right microphone?
Yeah, it's the right microphone.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Sorry.
Tap it on it. Tap it for me. I think that's it.
Okay. Literally, my whole system shut down.
Wow.
Yeah. All of a sudden, like my computer rebooted. I don't know what's going on.
We're at 1995, 1996.
You really want to get this thing in 2000, don't you?
It's cool. We're doing a live show at night, and we're going to get 2,000 live viewers.
Somebody earlier in the chat said that I look like on Conan O'Brien. Remember? In the year 2000! In the year 2000!
And with that, we went over 2,000.
Yes!
When you said that. Serendipity.
I've always wanted to do that. But I wasn't sure if I could get that high. In the year... Let's see, I can't do it again. That was it. It was one and done.
That's what it took.
I had one in me. That guy could do it over and over again. I had one.
You made it.
Yeah. In the year 2000, who'd the Broncos pick in the first round in the year 2000?
Trevor Price?
No, that was 1997.
97. Okay. Year 2000.
Yes.
That wasn't, I'm going to guess wrong a bunch of times. That wasn't Delta O'Neal.
Yes, correct. Very good. Delta O'Neal, cornerback.
Okay, very good. Okay,
like
very good.
They picked a cornerback today. Delta O'Neal, who made a Pro Bowl. Delta O'Neal, punt returner extraordinaire. Delta O'Neal, who in his final season with the Broncos, they briefly tried him at wide receiver because Mike Shanahan was so frustrated with him as a corner.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Not quite the, well, Brendan Langley wasn't quite that kind of Delta O'Neal pick, but Brendan Langley was like, what are you? I don't know. So.
Brendan Langley was a little too grabby. That was the problem.
You know the nice thing about Barron that we haven't brought up as we go back to the first round pick? He had, what, 2 pass interference penalties this year? That's it? He's
incredibly disciplined. Like that's
PBUs, INTs.
He is a technically sound player. He's a mature player. I can actually see why Broncos football operations was taken with him, because there was probably a lot that reminded them of Surtain in terms of his football IQ and in terms of his demeanor. There's a lot in him that's like Pat. Not saying he's going to be at the same level as Pat. I don't think it's fair to kind of put that on him.
Right.
But I think he studies like Pat. I think his appreciation of the game, and I think his IQ for the game, his football mind is a lot like Pat. So I think they're going to make each other better. I think we can safely say this secondary is the best since the no-fly zone. I think this defense could be something special this year.
Love to see it. I love what Jake's comment says here. I like the pick, front office sticking to the board, let the talent fall to them. And that's a nice thing, Mace. They didn't get desperate.
Yeah. They didn't get desperate, and they said, okay, this is a trust the board pick, because what you're saying is, okay, we're going to trust our board to get a running back that we like later. And look, we know the work they did on running backs. How many they talked to. It was double digits at the combine, the number of running backs with whom they met. It wasn't just Hampton and Genty. It was Jordan James. It was Ollie Gordon. It was Brashard Smith. It was Quinshawn Judkins. It was Cam Scattaboo. Like, they just went down the list. Dylan Sampson. Like, they just went through. They went through the gauntlet of running backs. So they've done the work on these guys. So they'll get this right. I think they will get this right.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
But it's certainly now, but that being said, unless we're talking about Devin Neal, you are probably talking about somebody who's not 3 down, which does bring us into the conversation of where they fit with what you have on hand and who is going to be the partner for them. Is it Estime? Is it Bidet? Is it Blake Watson? The partner is going to depend on the skill set. If it's, say, for example, Caleb Johnson, the most likely partnership, if you don't draft another running back, the most likely partnership is Caleb Johnson, Blake Watson. Those skill sets fit together like peas and carrots. Peas and carrots, as Forrest Gump would say.
Mm-hmm. Did somebody say something about your question and Coach Payton said we'd always get a free agent too?
That was George Payton did say we can always get a free agent, yes. Not to my question, but George Payton did say that.
Okay, somebody in the chat room said that, so I was like, was that your question? Like, what's
going
on?
Yeah, George Payton did say that, and I thought, but I mentioned it in my story at denversports.com. Like, he did say you can always get a free agent, and I'm like, well, you did say in Palm Beach. I was right there, George, when you said you were going to draft a running back. I was there when you said that. So, I mean, draft promises aren't really worth much. But, by the way, do you buy what Sean Payton was saying, that they weren't trying to move up?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah, because when Ashton Genty is saying that the Broncos talked to him more than anybody, like it was Broncos and Raiders, and you're not getting Ashton Genty unless you trade up. So you're putting all that time into him. It's not with the hope he falls. So, that one feels like it was a few Pinocchios.
You get that during the draft, that's for sure. You want to hear something weird?
Yeah, I love weird.
Okay, so we have bears in Roxborough, right? We have a bunch of different animals.
This is tired Cecil story, by the way. So
yes, as we wrap up the show,
yeah.
I'm downstairs.
Yeah.
Something just hit that window.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Bears?
So I'm gonna go look at the cameras. I'm gonna, make sure everything's secure. But...
Do we have another viewer? Do we have a fan? A grizzly, perhaps, that watches the show?
I hope it's not a regular fan at my house at 12:50 in the morning. So I would take a grizzly, although they're brown bears here. So
brown bears.
Yeah, and black bears. No.
Nickname...
Only the mountain lions scare me because you won't see them.
Black bears, nickname of the University of Maine.
There you go.
Never made the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Did you know that?
I'm going to make sure my house is secure.
Yes, because you don't want,
That's just very weird. It's probably a rabbit or something like that, but that was very, very weird.
Yeah, that thump. Things that go thump in the night.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You take care of that and then get yourself to sleep because you've got You got a show in like you got a show at 10 a.m. Yes, Cecil Lammey on the radio
I don't
at
think
10
we'll have to
a.m.
talk much about the Nuggets anymore.
Now, that was brutal tonight.
Oh my God. Talk about dialed out.
Man.
All right.
Well, boy.
Mace, your singing got us to 2195.
Holy cow.
Yes, I credit your singing. 2200 now. It's almost 1 a.m. Mountain Time. It's 3 a.m. Eastern Time.
Maybe it's, you know, I think I credit the 1993 Mile High Stadium Colorado Rockies pennant that I added to my backdrop. Or maybe it was people decided to log on when my computer shut down and I went away. Maybe that's it.
A majority of these are from your Twitter.
Oh, okay. Well, here's one. Remember when Marilat said Knicks would bust would be in the Shooter sweepstakes? Well, he was half right. We could have drafted Shooter. By the way, before we go, I want to make another shout out to my friend Arnie Stapleton from the Associated Press, because he meant the line that's going to stick with me tonight is he said, well, Deion Sanders was right about Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders going 1-2, first round, second round.
Ouch.
Oh, and I first I did a rim shot and then a reference that is less relevant with every passing year is I did the Ed McMahon hi-yo. Fewer people get that. It makes me sad that fewer and fewer people get that with every passing year.
You are correct, sir.
You are correct, sir. Yes.
Is it?
I'm so old.
Are you familiar with the Mandela effect?
Yes, I am.
Is it a Mandela effect that Ed McMahon did not do Publishers Clearinghouse? Did you know that?
Explain. Okay, explain how.
Didn't Ed McMahon do the big check?
Yes.
You got a check for $10 million. That's
He
a
did those
Mandela
commercials
effect.
he did those commercials forever when I was
There's
a kid.
a Mandela effect including that. That's like, no, he didn't.
Wait, he did.
It's like the Berenstain Bears. What were they for you when you grew up? And Sinbad, the movie? The
Berenstain Bears, yes.
Yeah. And then Shazam, wasn't it the Sinbad movie, Shazam? That didn't exist, but I remember it. Look up the Ed McMahon Mandela effect, and then we'll have more to talk about.
Wait a second.
By the way, did you see Simpsons?
Those things came in the mail. Like I remember that they came in the mail with Ed McMahon's little, caricature on it. Like they came to our house. I know this.
Are you typing it right now?
I know that there were envelopes that came to our house that had Ed McMahon's caricature on it. Like, this happened.
Ed McMahon did not represent Publishers Clearinghouse. He was a spokesperson for a competitor, American Family Publishers, which ran a similar sweepstakes program.
Oh, God. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Oh,
many
God.
people mistakenly believe he represented Publishers Clearinghouse due to the
God.
similarity of the two companies.
Oh, gosh.
So that's the Mandela effect.
I just gave myself a headache.
Yeah, believe.
We might have to save that one as a GIF.
Okay.
I don't know. Like me just banging my head.
Banging your head against the wall.
Oh, God. I'm not banging my head over the pick. Again, I like the pick. I can never argue against BPA. Period. That's the thing. Like you know how sometimes you just have to say you have it's checkmate. Like it's checkmate. I can't. I want to sit here and say, oh, they should have drafted O'Marion Hampton. Oh, they needed that running back. Yada yada yada. Because y'all know how much I like O'Marion Hampton. Okay, talked about him a lot. I think he's a perfect fit. I think he would have been a perfect fit for this offense. I cannot argue. I cannot make a logical argument against BPA, best player available, at a premium position like corner. There is no sensible, objective, logical argument I can make against that. The Broncos made a quality pick. Period. Good for them. There are plenty of running backs on day 2. They'll get one, but you can't pass up what I think is a top 10 talent player at a premium position who was there at 20. And oh, by the way, it is a position, you get to a next level, there is some level of need there because as you and I said, Cease, they were going to draft a corner at some point in this draft. They were going to get one. You just got one in round 1. So, there. It's a good pick. I don't do draft grades, but it's a good pick.
I do draft grades. And yes, I just said do.
And what grade are you giving this, Cease?
An A+.
Okay, there you go.
And with that...
Salute to George and Sean. Nice job, guys. Nice job.
Nice job, y'all out there, getting us to almost 2,300 live viewers. So, thank you, Mace's Twitter.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. He's Andrew Mason. I'm Cecil Lammey. Let's do the YouTube thing, Mace. What do we do?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell.
So that you
never
miss vid. That's right. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. Matt Cecil Lammey saying OBT's BFD. Thanks for watching. Get some sleep.
You too.
Well, you get to work, Mace. I can
crack that whip on me. Yeah, great. Thanks, my friend.
Stay frosty, everybody.